Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the GX3 Sports Podcast. My name's Nick. I'm one of your hosts. I'm joined here by my two best friends, Dom and Sam.
Going on.
What's up, everybody?
Obviously, you can tell by the title, but we are just going to be a sports podcast, mainly football. Kind of give you guys a little bit of a backstory, real quick. So, obviously, like I said, we are three best friends who share an equal obsession for football and all sports. I pretty much decided like a year ago that I wanted to do this, and I've been begging them ever since because all we do when we hang out is argue sports. So I figure why not record it and get some good content, good rage bait clips. So yeah, so this is gonna be it. Like I said, it's gonna be mostly football focused, especially now that it's football season. Might touch on some other sports a little bit, but for the most part, it's gonna be football driven. We're gonna try to do once a week, so try to get a video out like prior to that week's football week. So hopefully, like every Thursday before the Thursday night game, we'll have a video posted to look into that next week and talk about the week prior. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of everything. So I guess we'll just get right into it. We'll start off a little bit, just say a little bit about ourselves. So, like I said, my name is Nick DiCrescento. We're all from New Jersey. Big football fan, like I said, played football in high school. No longer play football, just a competitive bodybuilder now, but lifelong Washington Commanders fan. My other teams are Yankees, Rangers, and the Miami Heat. But mostly a Commanders and Yankees fans. Baseball, football are my two biggest sports. So yeah, that's it. Let the fellas join in.
You got it,
So,
Dom.
a little bit about myself. I'm Dom Marino, and that leads into why I'm a huge Dolphins fan. Last name's Marino. It's been a rough 20 years. Haven't seen a playoff win yet. Hoping that this is the year, but you know, have faith every year, and they let me down. Um, just a little bit about myself. I go to Stevenson University. It's a private school in Maryland. Play football there. Um, I'm a safety, and some of my other sports teams. I'm a Miami Heat fan, so carries over for the Dolphins because I've seen some good things out of the Heat. Me and Nick have seen
Yes,
some good
sir.
things out of the Heat.
Yes, sir.
Um, and I'm a Yankees fan and Rangers fan. So
All right. Nice to join you guys. My name is Sam. I play Division III football at Salisbury University. That's just a little bit about me. I ride and die by my Dallas Cowboys. The going's been tough recently, especially in light of some news that we'll probably get into.
oh
Um,
yeah,
I don't I don't play by my Cowboys. I'm a sports fan. I watch other sports, but I live and breathe football. I also like the Yankees. I'm a huge Yankees fan. I root for the Rangers, and I'm kind of just a basketball fan. I don't really sit there and have a basketball team that I root for. The Star, though, that's everything to me. Happy to be doing this first episode of the podcast.
Oh,
yes
so I
sir.
like to hear. I'll also throw in there before everybody thinks I'm a bandwagon. My dad is a Washington fan as well, so I grew up a Washington fan. That's not as of recent success. But like I said, we do live in New Jersey. That's why you have a lot of Rangers and Yankees fans here, but our other sports vary a little bit for other
And he's
reasons.
seen some shit with the Commanders,
Yeah, yeah, I dealt with 20
and
years of
he's seen some
pain
shit.
before my 1 year of happiness. So, um, but yeah, so like I said, that's pretty much just a little bit about us.
We
What to
should, you
see
know
for
what
the
we should
future.
talk about? We should talk about who has suffered the most pain watching their football
That's
team
true.
because
That's
we're
true.
three pain like
Painful
it's all painful
franchises,
for
It's
bro.
us.
easily me. It's easily me. I don't.
I don't
Before you
know,
guys even
dude.
go into it, the things that I've seen, like
I
I
mean,
don't know. I, I was I was I was born I was
you
born into the
guys
wrong fandom.
you guys have both seen playoff wins. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
this
I
you can
haven't got
say that
lucky
now.
enough.
You're 100% right. You can say that now, but I dealt with every year of my life miserable. I had 12 quarterbacks in a span of 6 seasons. You guys have at least had franchise guys. Obviously, I do now, so can't complain. But
Uh,
growing up, it was rough. Growing up, I watched my idol snap his leg and and ruin his career.
yeah.
It's been tough. I will say though, I do kind of feel for Sam a lot
I've
because we
seen one
we
of
were
the
never expected
greatest.
to be good. We were always expected to be bad. He's a fan of America's team. They're supposed to be
Yeah,
like the face of
it's rough.
football, and
I
for the
have
last 30
seen.
years they haven't touched anything.
I
So,
have seen the worst robbery. in the history of football, and I was
Sure.
young. I was young.
He didn't catch
That's
the
true.
ball. He didn't catch the ball.
We're starting with the rage bait already. Like, come on now. But you go even further than that. I've seen teams that have just been so close to finally getting over that hump. You know, even before my time, there's been this narrative that the Cowboys are done. It was a dynasty in the '90s, and that's it. But I've seen teams that should be able to get it done, and it always just falls apart in the playoffs. You could say what you want about my quarterback, you could say what you want about my defense, but there's always guys on that roster. There's always competent coaching. There's always something just doesn't click. It gets to a point where something just doesn't click, and it's
Might
not
be
it's
the
not gonna get
guy.
much better. I'm not very
I
hopeful
do.
right
I
now,
do feel
I
like.
especially in
think it's
light
the
of the.
guy. I think it's the guy in the front office.
Oh yeah,
But
100%. But
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, as of right now, like I'll say Sam, but I will say, I mean, it was torture, girl. Especially with the whole name change thing. Like I just got ripped on every day of my life. Every week could
yeah,
win one game, and it's like, oh well, you don't even have a team name. Like I just couldn't escape anything. So we have dealt
but
with some stuff.
I think last season carried
Yeah, hundred
your
percent, 100%.
because that was an
It's the best,
unbelievable season.
best,
No
best
one
season of my
expected
life,
it.
bro. Best season of my
You
life.
guys seem to have a franchise guy. No one expected it. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm
on the
excited.
come up,
I'm excited. We'll see. We'll
big
see what
things this
happens.
season.
I got big expectations this year. I'm sure Sam, you do. I mean, you guys have one of the most electric offenses in football. You just might have the worst defense in the NFL. So I don't know. I
We're
don't know
not going to
where
be able
that's
to
gonna
stop a
go, but
nosebleed this year, dog. I
yeah.
don't care how good
So
your offense is. It's going to be a situation similar to the Bengals last year.
yeah,
No one cares if you could put
I
up
I
30 points a
agree.
game.
exactly.
I
It's just
agree.
You
it's
can't
you
stop the
guys are
run.
just the Bengals in
You
a
have a
different font.
you have a secondary that plays lights out one game and then the next is just getting dotted up left and right. There's a lot of inconsistencies and there's a lot of people stepping into new roles. Um, I don't have high hopes for us, especially we just traded away our best player, the offense, defense, our best player.
Yeah,
The
we'll get into
probably
that in a
arguably the
minute.
best defensive player in the NFL.
And then Dom for you too, bro. I mean, listen, you guys can stay healthy.
You
Everybody's
know,
sleeping on
my
Tyreek Hill this year.
expectations.
I'm big on Tyreek Hill this year. I think everybody forgets that he's 2 years removed from his back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons. I mean, and it wasn't his fault last year. He had no quarterback, and he was battling an injury himself. So, I mean,
I agree. I
listen,
mean, my
it's
expectations this
possible.
year is it's either going to be solid in Miami or it's going to be gross. I mean, it's a big year for Tua and McDaniel. Like it's
Yeah, they're
really a
both on the
huge
hot
year.
seat.
They're both
That's
on the
for
hot seat.
sure. Both on the hot
I
seat.
I have faith in Tua. I always have. The offense is good. I mean, we got weapons all over the place. We traded away
Yeah.
Jonnu Smith, which was questionable, but
I mean, listen, injuries are going
defensively,
to be everything. Injuries are going to be everything for you. If Tyreek's healthy, if Tua's healthy, if A Chain's healthy, those are big names.
yeah. And defensively, I love the front seven that we got going, but just
Got Minka back there, bro.
the secondary is
Hey, listen,
awful.
you got Minka back there now.
Our cornerbacks are
I know.
terrible. I mean, we did sign Rasul Douglas a few days ago, which is big, but our corners are just horrible.
Speaking of
So
cornerbacks, and this will kind of piggyback us into the next thing. I don't have this in because it just happened like an hour ago, but big news for you guys, Sam. Deron Bland,
I
four-year
did see Deron Bland
four-year
was extended.
it's
extension. What is it? Four
big.
years, like
Mhm.
90
4
something,
years,
I
I believe
think.
it's nine. I believe it's 92 million. Um,
That's good stuff.
the
It's
thing about
possible to get
Deron
extended in
Bland,
Dallas. It's possible.
it you extended the wrong guy. The thing about Deron Bland is, well, first off, was battling injuries last season, but prior to that, it's almost like a sophomore year Trayvon Diggs, where it's like, okay, you're a ball hawk, you're going to cause turnovers, but you're an absolute liability in coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I
Yeah,
think
you got
that
two of them.
it's important to keep a few pieces because I think that the consensus around Dallas right now, especially after this Micah Parsons trade, is that it's going to be like a mini rebuild. You take a step back, let these draft picks come through. Hopefully, you draft the right way, and then you can move forward with a team that's better than the one you had before.
Even
I
though he
think
did
Deron
talk
Bland
about
is
trading the picks. I don't know if you saw that. I mean, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but it does
he
seem like he was saying that, he could have got those as bait to go for other
he
players.
thinks he thinks this is going to be the next like Herschel Walker trade. I think Jerry's just a geriatric old man. I think his
Yeah.
time.
I also think it's more of a personality thing where he wants to prove Jerry Jones he's the guy that runs things and
Hmm. He
he's
makes all
not
the
gonna
calls. Nobody
yeah
gets to tell him anything. So
Yeah,
But
He needs to be the face of the franchise more than he needs to see the millions of fans have anything to hang their hat on. Any kind of
yeah.
Super Bowl, any kind of even just playoff success. The the hype and the media attention and the word around what Jerry Jones is doing is more important than what the team is doing. And as a college football player, I just find that disgusting because everything should be about the team. It's about winning games. It's about going out there every week and performing to the highest of your ability. Jerry Jones would
well said.
rather just be a attention magnet. He'd rather just have the media talking about him, what he's doing. You know, he flies his helicopter onto the middle of the field during a practice. Like you can't do those kind of things. Your ego's too big. You need to be able to step to the side,
Yeah,
let your
I
coaches coach, let your players
I
play,
agree.
couldn't
I
have said it
agree.
and
better myself.
instead of trying to shoehorn yourself in, you need to just relax. Like you got
Yeah,
guys, you got ball players that can do good things if you just
I
you know
mean, like they got so many weapons on offense. You got CeeDee Lamb, who's, in my opinion, is going to be the best receiver in football this year. Pickens
There's no
besides
doubt in my
him,
mind about that offense. There is
I
no
mean,
doubt in my
there's
Pickens,
mind
one doubt
that
in my
we're
mind
going to
about that
be
offense.
it's the running
That
game.
running back room is looking real
The
scary.
running game.
That running back room is looking
I
real
but
think
short.
I'm high on that kid, Jaden Blue. I am, but he's just going to need time. It's hard to just.
the thing is though, the last time that Dak Prescott played a fully healthy season, he was second in MVP voting, led the league in passing touchdowns, posted a ridiculous stat line, was accurate, was playing efficiently, took care of the football. He had 9 interceptions that year. That's his last healthy season. And now you bring George Pickens into the mix. I think that there could be some seriously good things done as far as the passing game goes. But yeah, there are concerns. There are concerns about running the football.
Definitely.
You know, you have a young O line. You have a
Yeah,
rookie and a washed up Miles Sanders in the backfield. But
Yeah.
if you can just be decent at best in that category, I think Dak Prescott has proven himself as a leader and as a regular season winner. I think there are things that you could do offensively that could give you the edge in some of those games. But for me, the biggest concern is the defense. Because again,
yeah.
you can put up 30 points a game. You can have 3 touchdowns a game at quarterback if your defense is going out there and then they're letting up big plays and they're not creating turnovers. It's going to be really hard for you to, when it's crunch time, secure some wins.
It's a similar Bengals situation. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
It
it's you
is
got
It's the same thing.
it's the same thing. And then you're
same
in
exact thing.
tough division. Dom, at least you guys are kind of in a weak division. I mean, the Bills are going to have that division until Josh Allen stops playing football,
I agree.
but
I agree.
the
I
rest
do
of the
think the
division is open.
Patriots. I do think the
We'll
Patriots are going to
we'll
step
get
up
into
this
that.
year.
We'll get into that. The
I
Patriots
do
are going
think
to
that.
step up this year. We will get into that, but
Yeah,
it's you could compete in that division. You know,
of
100%.
course.
There's no doubt about that.
There's no room for error in that division
No,
in the
and then
NFC. Yeah,
and then for us too. But you know, it's scary. Like our biggest knock last year was our defense, and I will say I was slightly disappointed with how they approached the defense in the offseason. But then sometimes like I take a step back and think like there's a reason I'm not the general manager for a football team. Last year, 2 years ago, Adam Peters signed a bunch of guys to defense that I was not familiar with or didn't realize what level they were going to be, and they became studs. And now I'm like, we couldn't lose them. For example, Frankie Louvu or Bobby Wagner, who everybody's saying is old. These guys
yeah.
step up and now are all pro defenders who I would have
Big
never thought to
pieces.
go for. So like we signed guys this year, just not guys that I'm too familiar with or too high on, and just gotta hope that he trusts it because I think offensively we could be one of the best teams in football. I think everybody. I love Brian Robinson. I'm sad to see him go, but I don't think it's going to affect us that much. I think adding Tunsil and drafting another offensive lineman first overall, like our first overall pick, huge. Protect Jaden at all costs. You still have Eckler. You got the rookie who looks pretty good, and then
What's that?
adding
What's that kid
Debo,
like to be called? Didn't he say he likes
Bill,
to be called
Bill,
something?
yeah,
Bill.
Bill,
Bill.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think adding Debo is huge. Everybody has all this negative stuff to say about Debo. I just think he works in our scheme. I think that there's no denying that we run a tricky scheme where you have a lot of pass plays and run plays and screen passes, and that's just where Debo thrives. So I mean, I have huge expectations
Game
for this
planning for
year.
the Commanders this year for their offense is going to be an absolute nightmare
Yeah,
because
It is
wherever
because
you look on
Jaden
the
Jaden
football field,
Daniels.
there's going to be dual threats. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I'll start with him. He's the quarterback.
Debo, Eckler.
Put up ridiculous numbers passing last year and running the football. You have to keep him contained while you also defend the run. And Austin Eckler, even though he's getting up there in age, still had a productive season. And then there are
Especially in the
weapons
receiving
that
game. That's where he thrives. I mean,
there are weapons that people don't even talk about on that team. Like I think Zach Ertz had a fantastic year last year as a
True.
tight end, and I
100%.
think especially towards the end of the season in red zone situations, he kind of became Jaden Daniels' like safety valve.
Mm-hmm.
Now you add Debo Samuel, you have the possibility to completely open up your playbook to all kinds of RPOs. You can do whatever you
100%.
want to do offensively, basically.
The defense is going to be
And
our question mark, but you know what it is? The problem is too, like I have such high expectations, but now it's like we went so far, probably way ahead of schedule, that it's like if we don't go to the NFC Championship, if we win one playoff game and then lose in the divisional round, it's almost like to the outside world it's a disappointment. But you can't look at it like that because you have such a young
yeah,
quarterback that it's
the Commanders, they're really riding on just like straight momentum too, if you
yeah,
think about it.
yeah, yeah.
So
So we'll
Best
see.
believe they were watching film on Jaden Daniels, though.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
The entire league has been
oh yeah.
studying.
All right,
They're not
study him,
gonna they're not gonna
study
they're
him.
not
Don't
gonna let him
worry,
do what he did again.
study him. All right, so I got
film
I
can't
got some
help you
stuff
make an
for
open field tackle though. So
that. All right, so obviously as we've been talking about, big contract talk. So when I made this originally, this was a couple weeks ago before anything had been confirmed. So obviously I changed it now. But obviously, as everybody knows, there was three pretty big contract holdouts slash trade requests for some pretty big superstars in football this year. So they have all since settled their contracts and their situation. So we're gonna kind of break them down one by one. So for starters, the least relevant to the three of us, um, you have Trey Hendrickson.
Trey Hendrickson, big
So
piece.
this deal, they
Baller.
just gave him a raise. He got an extra $14 million just for this year. There's not really an extension. They just added 14 mil to his contract, making him get paid 30 million now for 2025. Um, Disrespected? I think so. I mean, guy led the league in sacks last year.
Yeah. He's a huge piece of that defense. They don't really have much going for them on that defense, but he's a
Nothing,
game changer.
nothing.
He's really a game changer.
Yeah. Um, do I think he deserves better? Absolutely. I think he deserves. I mean, do I think he deserves more money? Yeah. You're talking about, you got other edge rushers and Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt. They're making over $40 million a year. Yes, he's older, so
Yeah.
maybe don't sign him for as long. But in terms of what they're making in 2025, he's making $10 million less than them when he surpassed
You
all of them in
also
sacks.
you also look at the three pieces on offense for the Bengals. They don't really got much money
No,
to
they
just
don't.
hand
They
out.
don't. They don't. They definitely don't.
I'm gonna come back to this one
All right. All right.
because
So
this one there's a similar story going on right
yeah,
now.
yeah. So we'll move forward to the next one.
Mm.
Woo! Let's go, baby.
Big
Never a doubt,
payday.
by the way.
Payday.
Never a doubt, by the way. If we would have made this video 2 weeks ago like I wanted to, everybody's saying, "Oh, hey, oh, he's gonna go. They're gonna let him go. They're not gonna pay him." There was never a doubt. Bro did not want to leave. It was all a ploy. He's here to stay.
I
I'm
had my doubts.
My boy's not going anywhere.
I had
he's
my
a
doubts because
commander.
how are you going to be the heart and soul of that offense and that team and be forced to hold out? You're going back and forth negotiations. That's a man that absolutely deserves his money. He just had a career
Absolutely deserves
year,
his money.
and again, he's a leader. He's a
I
vital piece of that team.
That's the
I
thing
also
everybody
had
forgets about is what his impact in the locker room and just his culture as opposed to his production is unbelievable, but what he brings to that team as a leader and as a player is you can't put a price on that.
I also had no doubts. I knew he was a commander. I mean, he was just he did it the right way, McLaurin. He forced them to pay him, and they weren't gonna they would be stupid to let go of him
Absolutely.
and see him play for somewhere else. Especially
Absolutely.
what he did with the offense. He lifted that offense up last year. He finally got a quarterback who could throw him the ball. Sorry, Nick, but it's just the
Oh,
truth.
listen, bro, he even said because everybody's talking about, oh, don't pay Terry, he's old, he's old. First off, he's 30. Let's not act like that's all of a sudden like super old. Second off, no injuries, and third, the guy has never had the same week one quarterback 2 years in a row. He has never seen the same starting quarterback in 2 years, and he's put up a
Yeah, and
thousand
that's
yards.
big.
a
And that's
thousand
big.
yards for 5 years, 1,000 yards with all these random no names, sometimes three quarterbacks in a season. This is going to be the first time he's had seen the same starting quarterback twice. I think he's still going up. I think he still has room to
And
grow and
also
be a
to
better
touch on
player. So
like what you said, he's a great guy. He's a guy everyone wants on their team.
yeah,
He just lifts the offense up with him. Great character. He's just a guy that I would love
absolutely.
to have Terry on my team.
So
Yeah,
Ball
I
player,
definitely think he
ball
deserves
player.
his money. I will
ball
say the one
player.
thing I will say is I think DK Metcalf kind of ruined the wide receiver market because he was way too overpaid. So the reason why Terry was asking for so much money is because he knows he's better than DK, so he needs more money. But DK's contract was too close to guys like CD and Jettas and Jamar and these guys
Yeah,
that it shouldn't have been that close. Because I understand what people are saying. They're like, oh, why are you going to pay Terry as much as you're going to pay for Justin Jefferson? Which I completely agree. He shouldn't get paid what Justin Jefferson gets paid, but he should get paid more than DK. So that's where I feel like it kind of got lost. Is if DK would have got paid 28 mil a year, Terry would have been happy with 30 million a year. But instead, you got DK making all this money, so that's what kind of I think stalled it a little bit. But yeah, 3 years got him for the next 3 years, 32 million a year, making him I think like the sixth highest paid receiver in football, which I think is exactly where he belongs. There's some incentives on
someone's
there too.
excited.
So a little bit room to make some more money. But yeah,
Even as a Cowboys fan, that connection is
yeah,
very
It's
fun to
exciting.
watch.
yeah.
Oh
This
yeah.
one, I'm so sorry to do this to you. I really don't want to bash you on here, but got the last
Let
one.
it fly. Breaking my heart.
I
I'll
can
move it
see.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Just
I'll let you lead it
like
off, Sam.
what can you even say? I mean, I think that there are two sides to this trade, and obviously it's heartbreaking to see my not only favorite player on this Cowboys team, but one of just the most raw, talented,
Oh
and
yeah.
productive players that we've seen in football in the past 4 years defensively. 52 sacks, 120 quarterback hits, the pass rush win rate. He's just there are some things that you go and get it. Kenny Clark, what does he add to this defense? We've never been able to stop the run, even when Micah Parsons was on the field. This is not your end all be all if you're Jerry Jones to stop the run by trading away your best defensive player. That's how you want to stop the run. Those are his words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I
the worst quote I've ever seen, by the way.
It's just
We need to
unbelievable.
stop the run. I mean, what are we saying here?
I'm gonna go back into it. I'm gonna go back into that, but just sitting here and talking about this trade, I thought as a fan that this is just how things go in Dallas. It's the Jerry show. Like we said before, big ego. He needs the attention. The media's got to be talking. There's got to be buzz around his name and around his players' names. I thought that this was going to be a Terry situation where it ends up working itself out. You realize that, okay, this is one of our guys. This is a leader. This is someone that people on this team and in this locker room look up to. And for the next few years, you're going to need him. That's what I thought was going to happen. I I cried. I cried when I got this notification. There was a lone tear that ran down my face.
I've been there.
Um,
I cried
but
when LeBron left the Heat, so I feel you.
Yeah.
now that it's all said and done, I'm trying as absolutely hard as I can to find the bright sides, and that's why I said I'll come back to the Trey Hendrickson
Yeah,
raise. I'll come back to that because you look at the Bengals with the players that they've given ridiculous contracts to, they now don't have the money to keep other key pieces of their team. We were able to go and give Deron Bland, who although is a spotty player sometimes, is still a vital piece of our defense, and you were able to go give him an extension. You know, I think that the contract with Dak was disgustingly too high, and that's also part of the reason why you're now struggling to pay your star players. But getting rid of a guy like Micah Parsons, you now give yourself options in the future because
yeah,
you now don't have the chandelier of we got to pay a guy $45 million a year, $47 million a year. You don't have that hanging over your head now. You can go out and start looking for other moves you can make in trades. Jerry said those picks that they acquired from this trade, they might go and use to maneuver where they draft or go and get other key pieces.
It's just bad. It's just bad for
It,
the Cowboys in general. Like you saw what CeeDee Lamb said. He was pissed about it. It's just
Yeah.
I mean,
terrible.
this
I
is
mean,
a locker room guy. This is a
you
leader on the
see
team. When you
you
in your
see a
first
guy like
4
that
years
go,
shatter
yeah.
records,
Kinda,
that's what's going to happen. People are going to look up to you. They're going to realize your
yeah.
importance on this team. But I will say, getting rid of Micah Parsons does not completely lift the foundation of this team in the way that people think. And I know that's crazy coming from a Cowboys fan, but I've seen it with
I
my
agree.
own two eyes against good teams that can run the ball effectively with good offensive lines. Micah Parsons does not show up in the run game.
I
Sure,
also think
sure, you can pad your season stats. You can get 3 sacks a game against the Giants. You can go and do that. You should be able to do that if you are one of the best defensive players in football. But when it comes to those big time moments against good teams late in the season when we
You
need a
still got
stop
ran
on
all over
defense,
last year. Is what you're
it
oh
getting at.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I
And
get it.
teams run the ball right
I
at
get it.
him
I
because
get
they
it.
know he is undersized for a defensive end. And coming into the league, I was excited for him because he was viewed as this great unicorn from Penn State. He can do anything. He can play off ball linebacker.
Oh yeah.
He can drop into coverage. He can come down on the line and pass rush. And as time has gone on, he has now become solely a pass rusher, not an edge defender. You look at a guy like Myles Garrett, he's just as effective in the run as he is in the pass. He can blow up your tackle and completely disrupt their run play. I don't think Micah Parsons can do that. And that's hard
Most
for me to
pure
say
pass rusher in the
because
league.
absolutely, absolutely. When it comes to pass rushing, I don't think there's anybody that can do what he does. But we find ourselves as the Dallas Cowboys, this is just what we do. We find ourselves down in a lot of these games. Teams aren't going to pass the ball if they're up.
Yeah.
They're going to run the ball. They're going to manage clock. And that's why the production doesn't come through against those big teams. If you give up a big lead to a good team, no, they're not going to have their quarterback taking risks with the ball. They're going to run the ball, they're going to manage the clock, and you're not able to get in that pass rush mode where you're saying, "Okay, I'm going to go and
I agree.
I'm going to sack the
Yeah.
quarterback and I'm going to get some stops for my team."
I agree.
I
I
I
don't
kind of
even
have.
I don't even want to get started on the Kenny Clark thing because that actually makes me mad. I think that there is more that you could have gotten for a player on the
Yeah,
caliber
that's kind of where I was
that
going.
Micah Parsons is
So
on.
I kind of have an interesting take on this. I don't know if it's interesting. I think it's actually a lose-lose in a way. So huge win for the Packers in getting a guy like Micah Parsons, especially for the future. Paying him $7 million more than Myles Garrett. Do I think that that's wrong? Absolutely, absolutely. I think that I get you're paying for his future, but if you're talking right now, is Micah Parsons $7 million more valuable than Myles Garrett and $6 million more valuable than TJ Watt? No. Next year, is it? No. 3 years, maybe. So do I think it was overpaid on Green Bay's end? Yes. Where I think it's a loss for the
I
Cowboys,
agree,
other
but you're
than
getting
He
the
hasn't even
freaking
entered his prime.
third
I,
best
I
the
agree.
third you're getting
I
a
agree.
piece like one of the
That's a steep
best
contract.
defensive players, one of the best defensive
That's a
players in the
steep
league.
contract. Mind you, I do think it's a win for the Packers, but in that aspect, I do think it's a little bit of a loss. Now for the Cowboys on the other end, obviously the obvious loss here is you lose Michael Parsons, right? But on the other aspect, I think, and this just kind of goes back to what you were saying about Jerry Jones. If Jerry Jones would have said a month ago, Micah Parsons is available for trade. Instead of being sneaky about it, they could have gotten more. I think they could have gotten 3 first rounders for him. I think they could have got players way better than Kenny Clark for him. But instead, he kind of went the sneaky route and said, we're going to figure this out while trading him under the wraps and kind of not getting the bare minimum because 2 first round picks is 2 first round picks. Is Micah Parsons worth more than 2 first round picks? I think so.
Absolutely.
Me personally, I think
Absolutely.
you're
I,
getting
I
three
agree.
first round picks for
I
him.
agree.
So, I mean, that's kind of
It's
where
just
I'm at with
there's
it. It's like, it seems like it was the wrong approach for this. If you're going to trade him, there was a better way to go about it that could have set you guys up
I
better for the
agree,
future.
but there's just no world where you just trade the best defensive player in football away. I mean,
No,
the
there's
guy,
not. There's not.
it just it's
There's
crazy to
not.
me. But I thought his time was long done in Dallas
I
with
mean,
all
yeah,
the media stuff,
once he started
all
posting
the
all that
media
stuff,
stuff that was
But
is
what
going on,
but
and
what did I say before? Yeah, you're trading away your best player, but then you put yourself in a position where you can't build a team.
yeah,
Sure, you can hold on to a guy like Micah Parsons, but he's not solving a problem on our defense. The problem is that we can't stop the run. He doesn't solve that problem. You're going to
Yeah.
overpay, or not overpay, but you're going to pay a ridiculous amount of money to keep a guy around when he's not going to be the answer to your problem.
So do you think Dallas? Do you think Dallas is
I'm
in?
very conflicted. I'm very conflicted about this trade because I see why
That's
it
a
could
tough
be a
one.
good thing in the future, but at the same time, it's such a loss still.
Yeah.
Still,
So Sam,
regardless of
do you
what you
think
got.
Dallas is in rebuild mode?
My pride won't let me say it because we've got a
That's a
quarterback
hard
making 60
question.
million because we've got a
Ah,
quarterback making $60 million a year. I don't know how you could be in a rebuild
Rebuild
mode.
until that's gone.
Yeah, I don't know how you could say you're in a rebuild mode while paying all that kinds of money for a quarterback. Um, but I think that I think this is kind of the Cowboys saying, okay, we're going to take a step back for the next year or two, and we're
the
gonna
defense is the only thing that needs to be rebuilt. They have a Super Bowl caliber offense. They really do.
absolutely. And you have a young offensive line, like I said before, that over the years can maybe return to that great offensive line that the Dallas Cowboys like to boast about, that they like to, hang their hat on. That's bread and butter. We want to run power. We want to mash the football. I think that's something that they can get back to in a few years. And especially now that you've created some of this draft capital with these picks, there's a lot of things that you can do going into the future. I think that this is kind of similar to what the Lions did a few years ago. They acquired some first round picks. They went and got Aiden Hutchinson. They went and got Kirby Joseph. They went and got Jameer Gibbs. These were pieces that they then took to a team that year in, year out now is just dominant in the regular
Hmm.
season and makes late postseason runs. So
Yep.
that's the direction that I hope that this trade is going to lead them to. Knowing the man that's running the show, though, I'm not very confident that that's how it's going to go.
That was some deep stuff, Sam. I'm sorry again.
Hmm.
You
You
know,
know,
I
Sucks.
it's not it's I don't blame him. I definitely don't blame him.
no, I don't blame
He
him.
deserves he deserves to be paid, and
Oh yeah.
And he did it right. He
if
waited.
we
He waited. He could have, gone at this earlier.
he reached out, the communication was there on his end.
Yeah.
It's just
From what we've seen, you never know what goes
it's
on
a
behind
yeah
closed
it's
doors,
a
but from
but
our
it's a
end, it
but
looks like he approached everything well. So
it's a ugly front office,
yeah,
and I don't I the man who's in charge, Jerry,
The
just
whole situation was just
yeah,
ugly. The whole situation.
and it didn't have to end like that, like you said
no,
before, Nikki. It didn't have to end like that.
no. But all right, so the next thing we're gonna go into, we're kind of gonna do so obviously, as the season goes on, this will get the direction will be a lot more like debates and this person, that person, these teams, and we'll kind of break down week by week. But for these first two episodes that we're gonna try to get done before the season starts, we're gonna kind of do our predictions so that we have everything, in before the season starts. So first thing we're gonna do is kind of go division by division and rank the teams within the division, who we have winning, and where we have the rest of the teams falling. So we'll do a quick little breakdown of that. So first one up, we have, let's me go to it. We have the AFC North. Um, Obviously, I mean, quick little preview. This is in my opinion, one of the best divisions in football. It's should be Lamar's division for a long time until the Bengals can build up that defense. Bengals and Steelers, I feel like you have polar opposite teams. You have one of the best offenses in football being held back by their defense, as opposed to one of the worst offenses in football being carried by their defense. And then
Very well
The
said.
Browns are the Browns. I don't think there's much to touch into with them. You know, rookie quarterback, two rookie quarterback duels. We don't know who's getting the ball. Flacco, anybody. I still don't know. Have they even announced their starter?
They named Flacco as the starting quarterback
Flacco's
a
the
couple
Flacco is the
weeks
starter.
ago.
starting quarterback in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll kind of get
Rough.
into it from there. So I'll go first. So for me, obviously, if you could tell by what I said, I have the Browns coming last in this division. I can't see them doing anything, winning too many games. This one might be a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take. I have the Steelers at third. I am not high on the Steelers at all this year. I have no faith in a 42-year-old quarterback, regardless of what he did earlier in his career. I don't see much direction for their offense. They don't know who their running back is. I mean, DK Metcalf is good, but they're limited on weapons. And their defense is good. They're going to keep them in games. All their games should be low scoring games, but I don't think their offense is going to be enough to get it done. So I think this is the year that the Mike Tomlin kind of can always get them by situation comes to a close. So I have the Steelers third, and then I have the Bengals coming in second. If the defense steps up, they could win this division. But I don't think they will. So with that being said, I got the Ravens at first. Um, Lamar's division for the time being. I think roster wise on paper, they're the second best team in football. Um, Across the board, top to bottom, they are stacked. So little weak at receiver, but just all around as a roster, I think they're a great team. So pains me to say it because I don't like the Ravens, but I have the Ravens winning that division. So
Hmm.
Dom, all you.
Yeah, so it's a competitive division, like you said. The only team that nowhere close to competitive is the Browns. I think they're until they figure out their QB situation, it's going to be ugly. But I don't know how they draft a guy like Shador. They don't play him. They see signs of him, and then they go out and start 50-year-old Joe Flacco. It's disgusting. I'm also not a fan of Kevin Stefanski. I just don't like him. I think he should be gone. His
I think he's a great
schemes never
coach.
work.
I
I don't
think
like
he's a
him.
great coach.
I'm
I'm
not a
not a
fan.
fan.
I'm not big. Not big
Not a
on him.
fan. Um, then I got this third Steelers. I just don't know. It's a question. It's Aaron Rodgers is either going to be a surprise to people or he's going to be a letdown. And I think he's still got some gas left in the tank, but we'll see. He's old. They got a completely new team. Excited to see what DK Metcalf has, but I just don't see them. I'm just more high on the Bengals, so that's why I have second. The Bengals, they're elite. They got an elite offense. It's just their defense, like you said, Nick. Their defense is just it's awful. Joe Burrow, Chase Brown. I think he's gonna open eyes this year. He's a
Big
big fantasy
fantasy
guy
guy
for
this
me.
year. Big
Big
fantasy
fantasy
guy
guy
this
for
year.
me. I'm very high on him. Uh, T. Higgins re-signed him, and obviously best receiver in football, Jamar Chase. I just think the situation is going to be a little similar to last year, where it's just frustrating for Joe Burrow, and I don't know how much he's going to be able to take of it, where he's just in the MVP conversation, but they still can't find a way to win games with their defense and offensive line.
Yeah.
And then I got the Ravens, who I am extremely high on this year. I really think that they have the most elite roster in the AFC. They have weapons everywhere. Lamar Jackson is just unbelievable at this point, and I think they're going to turn some heads and they're going to win the AFC this year.
You got it, Sam.
Uh, Pretty sure I got the same as these guys. You know, the Cleveland Browns. Don't have much faith in them. Uh, I think that there are going to be some flashes. You know, I think towards the end of the season we might see Joe Flacco get sad. I think I'm very high on Shador Sanders. I can't let go of my faith in that young man. Um, I think he's a stud. I think he, aside from a few, you know, really egregious plays in the preseason. There were some flashes in there. There were some of those accurate throws. He was the most accurate quarterback in FBS, and that showed through in a couple of those throws that he made in the preseason. I think there were flashes there. So even though I'm very low on the Browns this year, I think that the quarterback room that they have now, you know, you've had two talented rookies learning under one of the best quarterbacks of all time at the end of the day, a Super Bowl champion. I think that in the coming years, maybe that four spot will be different. I think the Browns, you know, moving forward, have some pieces. And then in third place, I also have the Steelers.
Hmm.
Would I be surprised if their finish in this division is a little better than third place? Absolutely not, because when you have a good defense and you have a defense as good as they do, you can keep a mediocre to bad offense in ball games. And, you know, TJ Watt just saw himself a nice payday. I think he's one of the best defensive players in football when he's on the field, no doubt. Um, I think they have some really key pieces on defense that are going to keep them competitive in this division, but I don't think that they have the star power to trump the Bengals or the Ravens. I have the Bengals coming in second place. It's kind of like what we've all said, you know, that defense is just they can't get it done. They can't figure it out on defense. But on the offensive end, there's so much star power that they're still going to be able to win a few football games. It's really hard to hang with that offense, especially now you add in they now can pose a threat in the rushing game if Chase Brown steps up. I think Jamar Chase is going to have a similar season. Joe Burrow, similar season. It's going to be MVP conversation, offensive player of the year. I think Jamar Chase should have been the offensive player of the year last year. It's very rare that we
100%.
see a triple crown winner.
100%.
Um,
Couldn't agree more.
and yeah, I think this is the trickiest part of ranking this division because I could see the Steelers, still pulling off that just above 500 season, squeak into the playoffs just to get blown out in the first round. I could see it happening because that's the Steeler way, and again, that Bengals defense is just a liability. But then in first place is the Baltimore Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in football. I don't even think it's a debate after the season that he had last year. That defense is young, talented. They're a really solid unit, coached very
Kyle,
well.
Kyle Hamilton just got paid.
Huge contract. I love
Kyle
Kyle
Huge,
Hamilton just
Hamilton.
got
I
paid.
would
huge
say,
payday for
I will
for a
say, don't like the
fantastic ball player.
Ravens. Big on that contract. I love it. I think Kyle Hamilton is phenomenal. Massive
I, I
Ball
contract.
just
player.
I just think I just think the rushing attack is just how do you stop Lamar and Derrick Henry at the same time? You can't. You got to pick your poison.
Yeah.
Ravens deep playoff run could potentially win the AFC. All right, AFC South. Not as star-studded of a division as the last one. I think once again we'll probably have similar rankings, but there are some pieces moving around in this division. So yeah, you can just get into the ranking.
Yeah. All right. So I'll lead us off again. So for me, honestly, there's a battle of three teams that could be fourth here. Usually it's like you're ranking teams higher. I think it's a battle of just like who's going to be that bad. Um, Personally, I think it's the Colts. Now, I've seen people have the Colts higher than others. I have zero faith. I don't like their offensive weapons, with aside from Jonathan Taylor. Not big on Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson for that matter, whichever. I know Daniel Jones is a starter. If Anthony Richardson gets in, he's done nothing to prove to me that he's going to change this franchise. And to me, there's just nothing flashy about this team. So I got the Colts coming in last. Um, Third, I have the Titans. I do think the Titans take a step up. Obviously, they were the worst team in football last year. I think they improve. I like Cam Ward. I don't love Cam Ward. I don't think this rookie quarterback class compares to any of the top six quarterbacks from the prior rookie class, with the exception of maybe like Michael Penix. But I think Cam Ward will be good for them. I like Calvin Ridley. Um, I see them winning more games than they won last year, but not much. Second, a team that I think could make some noise this year. I would not be surprised if the Jaguars do something. I've seen people have them winning this
Yeah.
division. Um, Listen, Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence. We know what we're going to get from him, but the potential is still there. They have offensive pieces. BTJ is a stud. Travis Hunter should be a stud. You have two solid running backs. Neither of them are like great, but in a weak division, I could see them making a run. You have six of their games are within this division, and they could win four of those games, five maybe. They split with the Texans, so I have the Jaguars there, and then first winning for the third year in a row, I have the Texans. I think the whole CJ Stroud sophomore slump thing is so blown out of proportion. They still won a playoff game. He's won two playoff games in 2 years. He's a great quarterback. They have one of the best defenses in football. Their offensive line sucks, and it's going to hurt them. They shouldn't have gotten rid of Tunsil. Glad they did, but shouldn't have gotten rid of Tunsil. Joe Mixon injury is a problem, but you still have Nico Collins, who's a stud. CJ Stroud, who I have all the faith in the world in. I think the Texans win this division again, no problem.
All right. Coming in fourth, I got the Jaguars. I really think
Finally,
Jaguars.
something's different.
I really think the Jaguars are going to be one of the worst rosters in the NFL. I I just can't see them being good. I mean, T-Law, we've seen some early flashes, I guess, but he just hasn't seemed to put it together. Can't really stay healthy either. He's never healthy. Um, I think it's a big year for him. BTJ is the only player on that roster where I could see dominating. Other than that, their running game is terrible. I mean, ETN, I don't like him. He's terrible.
The Heisman winner
And
isn't going to be effective.
Travis
That's what you're trying to say right now.
Travis Hunter, I don't think he's going to be as good as a receiver as everyone's thinking. I think
I think as a second option, he's going to be pretty damn good as a receiver.
that's a big question. I guess
As
we'll
a
find out.
second option,
I'm not as high on him as I am on the other rookie receivers.
That's fair.
And then coming in third, I got the Colts. I think they'll be all right. Daniel Jones is a big question until they figure out that quarterback situation. It's going to be a little scary, but the offense has no really flashes. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. is a decent receiver. Um, and Tyler Warren, I think he's going to be a huge piece on that offense, doing everything. We saw it in college at Penn State. I
Yeah, I
think he'll be
agree.
pretty solid, but just not high in the Colts. Daniel Jones, I think he'll take a step up from New York, but I'm excited to see what he's got, but I don't think it's enough. And then coming in second, I got the Titans. I'm huge on Cam Ward. I love Cam Ward since college, and he's just just a stud. Great dude. Mentally, I know you guys saw he arrives to facilities as like 5 a.m., stays there all day, watches film.
He was named a
He's
captain.
just he's just a dog. Named a captain. That's just insane as a rookie. Um, he didn't show much in preseason, but his attitude is just unmatched. I like Calvin Ridley too.
Yeah, me too.
I think he'll be solid for that
That's going to be a
offense.
good connection.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see what Cam Ward has. I think he's gonna be the best rookie. I think he's gonna be rookie of the year, but we'll see. And then coming in at one, I got the Texans. I think they're gonna dominate the division. The rest of the division is just a weak division in general, but they got some good defensive pieces over the offseason. They brought in Jalen Petrie, Daniil Hunter, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and they have Will Anderson. So that defense looks promising. C.J. Stroud, he's he's all right. I think the sophomore slump got me a little bit, but we'll see.
You're falling into the trap, Dom.
I think I am. We'll see though.
Before I start, I just want to say, even the first place team, I don't see them going very far in the playoffs. I think this is overall just a weak division. Um, and I think the AFC right now, there's a lot of teams that are quickly on the rise, and we'll probably get into that more when we get in towards talking about the AFC West. But starting with the South, in fourth place, I have the Colts. I just you guys basically said everything that I have to say for
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
this
it. I
this
should have switched order for some of these.
this kind of team. You have a quarterback room that is just not good. It's just flat out not good. I think that we've kind of jumped the gun on Anthony Richardson because when you look at his physical attributes, he's extremely talented, but the accuracy is a problem. The the decision making from both of these quarterbacks is just terrible. And I think even in a weak division, that is the biggest glaring problem to me is that they're not going to be able to trust a guy under center. And I think you're going to see back and forth. One week, Daniel Jones
I
starting.
agree.
A couple weeks later, Anthony
I
Richardson's going
agree.
to get
It's
a
gonna be
start. And
ugly.
I think either way, back and forth, I just don't see them winning many ball games.
Yeah, here we go. Had me on some like
And then in
MVP
third
thing.
place, I have the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward. I mean, what else can you say about him? He's a natural athlete. I think he takes good care of the football. Uh, and we're going to see some of those glimpses of just that pocket presence, ability to throw accurately. I think you're going to see that, but I think the Titans just don't have enough to really make a run in this division. Decent running game. Tony Pollard, I think he's a solid back. The connection between Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley is going to be interesting to see. Until they can get that man a more solid team around him, I think the Titans are still going to have a pretty rough time this year. And then in second place, I do have the Jaguars. Uh, Again, Don't think they're going to be a very good team, but they're fighting in a pretty weak division. I am very excited to see Travis Hunter, though. I because I really don't know what it's going to be like. I feel like there's going to be packages for him on offense. There's going to be packages for him on defense, but I don't think he's going to be, on the field for 4 downs either side of the ball. Uh, but just the edge that you get from having someone that could play two positions that are very important really well to that effect. I think that's something that gives them a bit of an edge on both sides of the ball, which is huge. Um, Outside of that, Trevor Lawrence, what you see is what you're going to get. I mean, has he lived up to the hype he had coming out of college? Absolutely not. But I still think that he's good enough where they can win a few ball games and finish higher than the bottom two teams in this division. And then rounding off this division is the Texans. I think the CJ Stroud sophomore slump, I think he kind of puts a bit of a hush to that this year, returns to normal form. Um, it's a star-studded offense at the end of the day. I think Joe Mixon had a great year last year, and I wasn't really even expecting him to.
If he plays this
Nico,
year.
if he plays, if he
That's a
plays,
question.
um,
That's a big fantasy question.
um, but yeah, you just like at the end of the day, I think even a team like the Texans winning this division, I don't see them going much further than first round of the playoffs. Again, C.J. Stroud, he's a good quarterback. Uh, the sophomore slump did kind of raise some concerns, but I think this is a return to form for this offense and for this team as a whole, and they'll have no problem winning this division.
All right.
The AFC East. Hate this division. Hate every team in it besides my Dolphins, but I just hate watching the Bills dominate for the last few years. But we'll get into it. It's overall it's a weaker division, but a lot of rebuilding on all the teams, but we'll see.
All right. So for me, in last place, I have the Jets. I don't have faith in them. They've never shown me anything in my lifetime that would give me any faith in them. I do like Justin Fields, but I do think him being on the Jets is going to be a problem. Just because the Jets ruin quarterbacks. But I think him and Garrett Wilson could have a good connection. I'm not out on Brees Hall, even though everybody else is. Their defense has some big names, but just overall, there's just too many holes in this team that I just can't see them going anywhere. Aaron Glenn, it helps, but he's a defensive minded coach in a team that's going to need a lot of offensive help. So don't love that either. So that's where I have the Jets in third. Sorry, buddy. I got the Dolphins. Um, if they all stay
Ah,
healthy, I might eat my words on this one, but their defense scares me, and I don't know. I have faith in this team in second. I like the Patriots at two. Absolutely love Drake May. Big Drake May fan. I think they did a great job in the offseason. They added a lot of pieces. I think Stephon Diggs could still help them. Huge on Trevion Henderson. I'm drafting him in every fantasy draft. I think he's going to be a stud for them. And I just think that they built this team well in the offseason. I still think they're in a rebuild, so I don't see them going anywhere, but I see them doing enough to get past the Dolphins. It might come down to who wins a divisional game. It might come down to something small. I don't think that they're going to blow by them, but I do have the Patriots finishing second. And then, as I said in the beginning, it's Josh Allen's division until he doesn't play football anymore. I got nothing else to say about them. As long as he's healthy and on the field, it's his division for the rest of his career. Tom Brady, part two. Not in the fact that he's the GOAT, but in the fact that he runs the AFC East.
I'm really excited to see where you have the Dolphins. I want to see if the bias
mm.
came through.
So in fourth, I got the Jets. Justin Fields is just hasn't shown much in the preseason. I mean, I've seen clips of him throwing some freaking. I'm like, what is this guy doing? I also don't have faith in Aaron Glenn. I think he's a good coordinator. I mean, he's taken the head coaching job, and it's questionable. I don't like it. Um, Third, I have the Patriots, and I actually do think the Patriots will take a step up. They saw some bright signs last year with Drake May, and now they just got Henderson. They drafted him. I think he's gonna be a stud. And Vrabel. That's just a great
Yeah, I
coach.
didn't even
So
talk about that. True.
you
Good point.
gotta
Vrabel's a great
respect
coach.
Vrabel. I think the Patriots will step it up. In second, I got my Dolphins. It's just rough in Miami.
That's not
It's gonna
biased.
be a
It's fair.
question. It's it's really up to if they can
If
stay
it's just
healthy
rough
or
on
not.
Miami, how do you have them finish the second?
They have so many pieces. They have so many pieces, and their
It
schedule's not the hardest.
How many of those pieces are they going to be able to finish the season with?
That's the
you
question.
can't predict that though.
You can't predict
You got
injuries,
to go with
but
what they got.
look,
Just
if Tua could stay healthy,
judging off of what we've seen.
if Tua could stay healthy, I really do think that the Dolphins could open eyes this year. But if not, then it's gonna be rough. Like pain watching, like terrible. Like I'm gonna have to hate watch every week because I can't watch my own Dolphins. And then in first, I got the Bills. I hate to say this because I absolutely despise the Bills. I hate that Bills Mafia shit. I hate everything about this team. And I just Josh Allen's just too competitive. I do like Josh Allen as much as I hate the Bills. He's just too competitive and too much of a natural athlete. And this team is just their culture, just everything. They're just a good team. I hate to say it, but it's just true. Sam,
All right, I'm not as high on the Dolphins as you are. I don't have them in last, but I think this is another division that's going to be just pretty rocky. Those everyone except the Bills. Spoiler: I have the Bills winning this division. Without any objection. But we could start off in fourth place. I have the Jets. I think this is kind of a full circle moment for Justin Fields going to the team that should have drafted him originally.
Absolutely.
I think him getting back with his guy Garrett Wilson, that's going to be exciting to watch. But I've just, in my entire lifetime of watching football, I've just never seen the Jets be able to figure it out. No matter how good or how bad the roster is, they just always seem to struggle. I think that it's more of a culture problem than it is talent because they do have some guys, but the other competitors in this division just seem to walk all over them every single year. So I have the Jets finishing last. Again, could there be some potential for future improvement with this team? Absolutely. Am I excited to watch Justin Fields? I think that he still deserves a shot. I think that there's still some things that he can do offensively for this team. But other than that, Jets finishing last in third place. Dom,
I
sorry to
love it.
say it.
I love it. I
I
love it.
have the Dolphins. I just I can't see it. I can't see a season where Tua stays healthy the whole time and plays well. Um, sure, you've got some names, you've got some guys offensively, but I think their defense is very weak. Um, I think when you're
Just the secondary.
competing,
Just the secondary.
I think when you're competing for a division, and you're in the same division as a guy like Josh Allen. I think that that's an easy 2 wins for the Bills. I think that there are going to be some serious changes next offseason for the Dolphins. Um, I don't like Mike McDaniel as a coach. I think he's a terrible coach. Um, I'm not trying to sit here and just hate on the Dolphins, but I do think that there are some serious problems, and I think that their window for success closed a few years ago. I think that in the coming years we're going to see a bit of a rebuild. I think Tyreek Hill, this might be his last year in Miami. Um, things are going to change for this team. Are they going to go out and win some football games? Absolutely, because they do have talent. Any way you look at it, Tua, when he is healthy, is a solid quarterback. Devin Achane is going to tear it up in the running game. And then, even though I said I think it's his last year there, Tyreek Hill is still just such a threat. And then you have Jalen Waddle on the other side of him. Those pieces that you have can win you some ball games for sure. And then in second place, I have the Patriots. I think that the Patriots, showed a lot of really good things, especially in the final stretch of last season. And I think that they're going to pick up right where they left off. I think Drake May figured it out towards the end of the season. He's going to be able to lead this offense to be much better than they were last year. I think that they have some pieces on defense. They brought in Stephon Diggs, who can be a reliable target. for the next, hopefully, coming years. I'm a huge Stephon Diggs fan. I think that recently he hasn't been shown the love or
Washed.
appreciation that he deserves.
Hmm.
I still think he's a ball player.
Washed.
Um,
Washed.
so I have the Patriots finishing in second. I think they'll probably split with the Dolphins, and I think it'll be a fight for that second spot. Um, but yeah, that's where I have the Patriots. I think that they can eke out the second place spot over the Dolphins, and then in first place, I don't think anyone has any objections to this. It's the Buffalo Bills, just offensively, defensively, they're stars everywhere on that team. Josh Allen is just he's a monster, and I don't think there's anything that anyone could really say or do. I forget where I have them finishing
We'll
in
get
the
there.
AFC, but
Don't worry, we'll get there.
we're gonna get into that. I'm very high on the Bills this year. Um, do I think Josh Allen deserved MVP last year? No, but
Mm.
undeniably, undeniably a ball player. So I have them finishing first again without any kind of struggle.
All right, AFC West. I think we all agree best division in the AFC. Couple things to look out for. You got the Mahomes revenge tour. You got the Broncos team that made a lot of noise in this offseason. You got a Raiders team with a good draft that's up and coming, and you got a Chargers team that's also got a lot of question marks. Good year last year, good coaching, ground and pound type of team, but a little bit of controversy with them this year too. So kind of get into where we have them. Um, for me, fourth place, I have the Raiders, and this is actually zero disrespect to the Raiders. I actually think the Raiders will be decent this year. I like what they have at the offense. I like Geno Smith. As everybody hates on him, I like Geno Smith. Um, I I think Genty's going to be good. A little bit overrated, yes. Brock Bowers is an absolute stud. Jacoby Myers is solid for them. He's always been. Their defense is going to hold them back aside
No
from Max
drops.
Crosby. Defense is going to hold them back outside of Max Crosby, which is why I have them finishing in fourth because I do think they're going to struggle within the division. But as a team, I do think that they will see improvements as opposed to where they were last year. Uh, Third, I have the Chargers. I could see this being flip flopped very easily. Um, the Chargers are good because Herbert is phenomenal aside from the playoffs, and Harbaugh is just a phenomenal coach, and they just know how to win games defensively. They just know how to win these games, so I like them. But do I think that they're flashy? No, I think that they could struggle against good teams. So I'm iffy on them. I really don't know how I feel about the Chargers right now. But what I do know is I like how they're coached, and I like Justin Herbert in the regular season. Second, I have the Broncos. If I had to say one thing out of all four AFC divisions that I think could change this year, because if you could see by my rankings, I have the same four division winners that have been the four division winners for the last 2 years. If I had to predict one that I'm wrong about that changes, it's this right here. Broncos have the best defense in the NFL. Anybody could argue me on that. They have the best defense in the NFL. I think Bo Nix showed me a lot last year. They added pieces. Evan Ingram's going to be good. I like this Broncos team a lot. But first place, until proven wrong, it's Mahomes' division. He's on a revenge tour. He's playing with anger this year. So I have the Chiefs finishing in first for the probably like eighth year in a row. I don't even know at this point, but
I have very similar rankings and for very similar reasons. So in fourth place, I got the Raiders. And like Nick said, I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were. I think they'll take a little step forward with Bowers is obviously very explosive, what we've seen from last year. And Genty's going to be explosive. And Pete Carroll, I think, will make them somewhat competitive. And third place, I got the Chargers. They got a competitive offense, but their defense worries me a little bit. Um, I love, I love, what's his name? Harbaugh. I love Harbaugh. I think he's a
that was
great
fair. That was
coach.
fair.
Um, and yeah, Herbert. I just don't think that they're a playoff contending team. I don't know. I don't see him making much noise. Second place, I got the Broncos. Best defense in the NFL, without a doubt. Bo Nix surprised me. I did not expect him to be as good as he was, and I think they'll win some football games this year and be a serious playoff playoff contender. And in first place, I got the Chiefs. It's just self-explanable. It's their league until proven wrong. I mean, they were proven wrong last year, but they're just a dynasty, and they'll always be competitive as long as Andy Reid and Mahomes are in Kansas City.
Agreed.
I think I have the same rankings as you guys. Fourth place is the Raiders, like you guys said. very solid moves this offseason to make them a little bit more competitive. They've been struggling the past few years. I think you bring in a guy like Geno Smith who can win you a couple ball games. Uh, I think the deserving Heisman winner, Ashton Genty in the backfield. I'm not buying into this overrated talk about him. Um, at the end of the day, he's a phenomenal football player, and he's going to be able to open up the rushing game. And then you also bring in a good quarterback who can manage a game. Raiders are going to be a team to watch in the years to come, but I still have them finishing in fourth because I think that this division is just absolutely loaded. In third place, I also have the Chargers. Uh, Justin Herbert, I mean, I'm not very high on him because you could say what you want about talent and the accuracy and he's got the big arm and he's an athlete and he's dating Madison Beer or whatever bullshit you want to say about him. But at the end of the day, when it's time to step up and win big games, he's just nowhere to be found, and this offense seems to kind of just fizzle out. With that said, though, I think that they are going to be productive on offense this year in the regular season. I like Omarion Hampton. I think that he's going to be solid for them. And Justin Herbert's going to do enough to get them some wins. I think that this is a 3 playoff team division. I think that the Chargers will squeak their way into the playoffs. But that's where it ends until I'm proven wrong about Justin Herbert. Just I've seen 2 of the worst playoff performances and come out of this guy, and sometimes it puzzles me that how people can still defend him. But with that being said,
Ugly. It was an ugly game against the Texans last year.
forget that. The Jaguars a few years ago, bro.
Yeah, that was
Oh, that was ugly
Forget
too.
that was
forget
bad.
forget the Texans, bro.
Yeah.
They were up what 31 to something, a lot to a
Oh, that
little
was
at half, and they completely pissed it away. And you could say,
yep.
but the defense couldn't get a stop. If you're up that much, you got to be able to just put the game away on offense.
Yeah.
Your defense shouldn't have to go on the field. In
Yeah.
second place, I have the Broncos. Kind of like Nikki said, I really wanted to come on here first episode and be bold and say that the Broncos are going to win this division. I think it's going to come down to the wire between them and the Chiefs. I think the Broncos are going to be very good this year. Best defense in football. I think Bo Nix proved a lot of people wrong. People want to talk about, you know, he's old for a rookie. That didn't seem to matter. He was running all over teams last year and throwing all over teams last year. I think he's honestly a dual threat quarterback. And then just the moves that they made this offseason in this defense. You bring in Dre Greenlaw, you bring in Hufanga. Those are 2 phenomenal ball players when they're
Huge
healthy.
pieces. Huge
Big
pieces.
pieces to an already solid defense that's got a guy like Nick Bonito. You know, they're coached well. Sean Payton, he speaks for himself. Broncos are going to be a team to watch. And depending on how this season goes, if we were to do this in a year from now, I would probably say that they're going to win the division. I wanted to this year, but I think it's still just clear cut that the Chiefs, you know, you could say whatever you want about them, the media, Taylor Swift, the refs.
Congratulations, Travis Kelce, by the way.
That's
You
my
could.
boy, bro. That's my guy. That's my guy right there. Everybody hates on him. That's my guy. But
You can say whatever you want to say, but
yeah.
what they do year in year out is just undeniable.
Yeah.
You know, I think
100%.
it's a similar year as last year, well over 11, 12 wins, and fighting to get back to where they were, you know, a few years ago. Last year they were on the brink of a three-peat. It kind of fell apart for them when it mattered most.
Still the
But
best run at a 3-peat in NFL history.
yeah, and I think they were winning close games, and there were a lot of controversial games that they won last year. But you don't just accidentally win. How many wins did they have? 13?
Yeah, I think.
You don't just accidentally win 13 football games in the NFL. Refs, whatever you want to say, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs can get the job done no matter what. I think Xavier Worthy's going to have a huge year. I think he really comes into the wide receiver 1 role as a true deep threat. He's going to kind of function in that offense like Tyreek Hill did when he was on the Chiefs. And I think defensively they're just like a homegrown unit that just that just plays hard. Chiefs defense does get me excited. I'm not a big fan of the Chiefs. I think that, like I said before, some of their success, you can kind of chip away at it. Um, but that's one unit that I think is going to really hold this team together is that defense. Even when Patrick Mahomes has a down year, you still win 13 games. There's no denying this team. And now the NFC North. I think this is going to be an interesting division to watch this year. Uh, there's a lot of there's a lot of possibilities for this division, if you ask me.
You see
Especially
four
with
division winners here,
especially with the well,
maybe three, but
but either
close to
way,
that.
competitive division, great offenses. Not so much in the Bears case, but some solid defenses. The acquisition of Micah Parsons moving into this division, we'll
Shakes
get
things
into the
up here.
rankings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shakes things up here. All right. So for me, crazy, probably going to be the worst, like one of the worst fall offs we've seen in a long time. I got the Vikings finishing fourth. What did they have? 15 wins? 14 wins? 15 wins? Going
Mm-hmm.
to fourth in the
They had
division.
14.
I mean, listen, I could be wrong. I could eat my words on this, but I haven't seen JJ McCarthy play. I didn't like what I saw from Michigan. I have no reason to believe that he's going to be good, other than the fact that they have a lot of faith in him, which I guess sometimes you have to trust in that a little bit. Obviously, love Justin Jefferson. Defensively, they're phenomenal. I will give them that. But with this division, like they're going to lose a lot of games in this division. Tough schedule, and I just think that somebody's got to finish fourth, right? It's a good division. Somebody's got to finish fourth, and they're just my prediction. Third, I have the Bears. Everybody knows I am on Caleb Williams. I'm not the biggest Caleb Williams fan. I do think he's going to take big steps up this year. I think he will be a very good quarterback this year. Um, I am not as high on them as a lot of people would be, but I think that they'll do enough to get past the Vikings. Um, Second, finally we have a hot take coming in on this because the AFC was so basic across the board. I don't know if it's a hot take anymore now that this changed, but I did make this before Micah Parsons was traded, mind you. I have the Lions finishing second. I love the Lions, but I think they take a step back. I think they're just not going to be as good as they were last year. As simple as that. The same way I said somebody's got to finish fourth in this division, somebody's got to finish first. And especially to back myself up with Micah Parsons being there, but I had it before. I just think it's the Packers. I just think the Packers are going to end up winning this division. So I could see this one going either way. But if you ask me right now how I feel, I'm taking the Packers.
Crazy. Crazy. And that's not because I'm just hating on the Packers this year. That
All right, Dom, you got us.
Coming in fourth, I also have the Vikings. It's big year for McCarthy. I mean, it's his first year. I think he's gonna piss down his leg, and I don't think he's gonna be good at all. I mean, I didn't see him. I didn't see much out of him in Michigan. It was just an electric roster at Michigan, so I think he got carried to a national championship. Um, Sorry for the Michigan fans watching this, but um, I think they just have to get Justin Jefferson the ball, and they'll be all right. But I just don't think that's gonna be enough. Addison's missing a few games. Their running back room's all right. I mean, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But coming in at third, I got the Bears. I think they're gonna shock some people. They're gonna take a step up. Uh, Entire new offense. I just think with Ben Ben Johnson, I think he's gonna rise his players. Two big players, I think. Watch out for DJ Moore and Colston Loveland. Um, Coming in at number two, I have the Packers. Matt LaFleur is a great coach. I really like what he's doing down there. And Jordan Love, solid quarterback. With him and getting a piece like Matthew Golden, I think he's gonna be the wide receiver one. I think they're gonna be a great offense. And like we said, all show Micah Parsons is just a great addition. And first, I got the Lions. I think they're just continue to thrive. Their offense is too good. Dan Campbell's a great coach. They just need to they just need to have their defense stay healthy. They were battling with injuries all last year. They get Aiden Hutchinson back, which is huge, and I think the Lions are going to make a lot of noise again.
this is another division where I think it's going to be very competitive. I think even a team like the Bears, who I have finishing last, uh, I think that there are some seriously good things that have been being done by that front office in Chicago. They've been bringing in a lot of offensive weapons for Caleb Williams. I know that there were some moments last year that just make you shake your head, but at the end of the day, he's one of the purest and rawest athletes in the NFL right now. And I think the decision making is has got to be better, but I think it will this year. And I think you bring in Luther Burden, you get Colston Loveland. These are guys that can, in years to come, be some of the big names in football. Definitely a team to watch out for in the future, but I still think that there are some things that they're going to be working.
In third place, Minnesota Vikings. JJ McCarthy. I'm not very high on him, but I think that this team's defense is just still so aggressive, and I think that they're a really good unit. Um,
Too good
I,
too.
Justin Jefferson. They got guys, good defense.
Yeah.
And then in second place, I have the Packers. I think that they're going to be a competitive team this year. I love Matthew Golden coming out of Texas. I think that he's going to be able to give Jordan Love a reliable target, which is something that he hasn't really had. Um, I think that their defense was already solid, and then Micah Parsons just takes them over the top. I mean, they're going to be competing in games all year, and I think that this is another team potentially, or another division potentially, that could have three playoff teams. Uh, in first place, I have the Detroit Lions. It's going to be interesting to watch how things change. They lost their offensive and defensive coordinator this offseason, but at the end of the day, Jared Goff is a pretty good quarterback, one of the best offensive lines in football. You have a great 1-2 punch in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, top 10 receiver in football. I think there are just stars all across that offense. And then defense, if they can stay healthy, they're a great unit as well. Alex Anzalone, Kirby Joseph, I'm trying to think who else. Aiden Hutchinson coming back. He's my early pick for comeback player of the year. I know we're gonna probably go into awards. He could even make a run at Depoy. I think last year it should have been him at Depoy. Again, it's going to be a different look because of the changes in coaching, but they're still just going to be so dominant. Another really competitive division, though.
All right, we'll go right into the South. Uh, for me, fourth place and last place in the entire NFL, I have the New Orleans Saints. I think there is literally nothing on this team to be excited about. So I just have no faith in them. Spencer Rattler is their starting quarterback, and I think that that's just atrocious. So I think that they finished last in the division and last in the NFL. Third, Atlanta Falcons. Um,
Hmm.
Another team I don't love. I think defensively they have a lot of good guys, even though I do think they lost Justin Simmons. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that. They do have good guys on defense. I don't love Michael Penix. Don't really believe in that situation too much. I think Bijan's going to be a stud. I think Drake London's a stud. And I'm not going to fall to the trap, but I think Kyle Pitts could improve a little bit this year. But overall,
Oh, please.
I don't think that they're doing anything.
Outfits.
In second, my boys, sneaky Panthers, baby.
Sneaky
Love
Panthers.
love the
Sneaky
Panthers.
Panthers.
Love Bryce Young. He showed so much to me last year. He impressed me at the end of last year. Love Ted McMillan. I just think that this team could be better than people are going to give them credit for. And then in first place, I have the Bucks. Just a solid all around team. Somebody said this to me the other day, and I thought about it, and I was like, wow, that's actually true. If I asked you what's the weakest thing on the Bucks, you wouldn't be able to give me an answer because across the board they're pretty solid. They don't jump out at me as the best at anything, but there's not really much weakness on this team. So solid football team. I think that they take this division pretty easily.
Well said. Well said. Coming in at fourth, I also have the Saints for the same reason. They're potentially the worst roster in the NFL. And Spencer Rattler is it's ugly. And I think they're going to find out quickly that Tyler Shaw was just a waste of a pick. Waste. Coming in at number three, I have the Panthers. I do think they're going to take a step up. Bryce Young is gaining more confidence, and I love it. Um, Ted McMillan, I think he's going to be a great weapon. And I think the Panthers are going to be a team that's like one of those gritty teams that get gritty wins and they surprise some people. And coming at number 2, I have the Falcons. They got a whole new offensive scheme, and the weapons are all over the place. I love Penix. Bijan Robinson is a stud. At number 1, I got the Bucks. Like you said, there's not many weaknesses in the Bucks, and Baker's just such a competitor. I love what Baker's doing, and I love that he turned his career around in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. All right, Sam.
All right,
Take us
in
home.
fourth place, they're a dumpster fire, the New Orleans Saints. I'm not even gonna spend time talking about them. There's really nothing that makes me think that they're gonna win more than 3 games this year. I think they might, you know, accidentally stumble into a few wins. But I think it's just gonna be a really tough year for them. I have the Panthers, and I wanted to put them in second place because, kind of like Nikki said, I am a huge Bryce Young fan after the things that he did last year. I think that there was just so much noise about how he's a bust, about how he's not going to ever be good in the NFL, and then he completely flipped that narrative around by showing that there's a reason that he was a first round pick. There's a reason that he's, going to be a starting quarterback for a long time in the NFL. I think they have other great weapons. I like Chuba Hubbard. I think that he's a solid back. And then you introduce Tedera McMillan, who was a great receiver in college, and you bring him into a team with a young quarterback. They're going to be able to build chemistry and be a good duo for years to come. And then in second place is the Falcons. I think the Michael Penix show just started. I think that he's going to be a really good quarterback for years to come. Very accurate, not really. I don't know why I said that. In college, very accurate. NFL, just, we saw very little of him last year, but he's going to be able to produce in an offense with weapons like Bijan Robinson and Drake London, and I think that defense is a very underrated unit. And then rounding this division off in first place, I have the Buccaneers. Love Baker Mayfield, love Bucky Irving, love Mike Evans. There's just so many offensive weapons that I think that it's going to be a very similar season to the one they had last year. They're going to be trying to fight their way into a deeper playoff run, but they're definitely going to be the winner of this division. And then you look at their defense. I don't think it's as strong as their offense, but there are still some ball players on that side of the ball. I think they have a really good secondary, and I think they have no problem winning this division.
All right, big one. Got 2 fans in
Hmm.
here. Whew, huge division for us, tough division this year. But we'll just get right into it. So for me in fourth place, now I really struggled with who to put here. But in fourth place, I have the Giants. I think I'm going to get a lot of, oh, you're a Giants hater. I think the Giants got better. I think they're a better team. I think defensively they're really good. But offensively, I don't see it. I don't know what's going to happen at quarterback. Similar to what you said about the Colts, I could see Russ starting this week, then Jameis starting this week, then Dart's the quarterback at the end of the year. I just don't know where it's going to go. Malik Neighbors is a stud, but other than that, because they have the hardest schedule in the NFL, the Giants are going to struggle to win games this year. I do think that they will be a better team than what their record shows. Um, Third, I have Dallas. After recent news, I was tempted to move them to fourth, but offensively, they're too good for me to do that. So I left them where they are. We gave a good breakdown of them in the beginning, so I won't go into it. But offensively, they're too good to be any lower than this. Second place. This is no bias. Philadelphia
Oh, this is
Eagles.
bias.
This is no bias. Obviously, that leaves my first place team. Now, I will say, NFC East curse. We haven't had a repeat winner, and Sam fact checked me. I think it's been 25 years.
I mean, the whole time I've been
The whole
alive,
time I've been alive, the same team has
and
not won the NFC East
and
twice in a
then
row,
before
and
that
that ain't
too.
changing this year. It's going to come down to week 18. We play them week 18. I think they beat us week 16, and I think we beat them week 18, and it's going to come down to that, and that takes the division, that final game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we're so much better than the Eagles. On paper, the Eagles are a better team than us, and I actually do think they are a better team than us, but because of the curse and because of the faith that I have in my team, we're taking the division this year. Dom.
Coming in at number 4, I got the Giants. I think they're going to show some young flashes with Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart. Malik Neighbors, he's going to be a top receiver in the league. He showed a lot of potential last year. I think he's just going to continue to strive. And coming at number 3, I got the Cowboys. I just, their offense is unbelievable, like we said before, but their defense is just a problem for me. And it's a competitive division. Like I said, I mean, they're a competitive team, but the next 2 teams are just simply better.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 2, I have the Commanders. Jaden Daniels,
Ooh.
he's the quarterback everyone wants. They just re-signed Terry. They have a solid defense. I'm not a fan of their running game. Austin Eckler, he catch passes. I'm excited to see what that new guy has, but we'll have to see. And I think the Commanders are going to be a huge team in the NFC this year. It's just the Eagles, man. They're just too good. I said it last year before the playoffs started that they were going to win the Super Bowl, and they did. And yes, they lost some pieces, but the Eagles are just, they're too stacked. They're riding on the momentum. Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback, and I think the Eagles are
I
going to
respect
go
it.
back to back.
I respect it. All right.
Damn, all you put in the Cowboys third. All right. Fourth place, I have the Giants. There's a lot of talk about the things that they did this offseason. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of new looks that they're gonna have. And I think that there's a lot of hidden talent on this roster that hasn't really gotten a chance to shine through because of how inconsistent they've been, especially like at quarterback, for example. But they just went and got the best defensive player in this draft. Uh, Adding that to a ridiculous front seven already, you have the best nose tackle in football, Brian Burns on the other end. That's hard to game plan for. That's hard for an offensive line to protect against. Other pieces on their defense that I like, Bobby Okereke, I think he's a phenomenal ball player. He's one of the best inside linebackers in football. And then you flip over offensively, and you don't really know what you're going to get at quarterback. That's why I have them finishing fourth, because I do think that paired with a really difficult schedule is going to set them back a little bit. They're going to be interesting to watch, though. And before I go on with the rest of this division, let me just say that I think that this is the best division in football. Not just in the NFC, not just in the AFC. I think this is the best division in football. That's no bias. I think that these are 4 teams that all could win surprising games. Even a team like the Giants, I think that they're still going to have a tough outing this year. But looking ahead into the future, and even right now, I think that they're gonna shock some people. In third place, I have my Dallas Cowboys.
Ripped on us for having them at third.
It pains me to say it, but at some point I have to be realistic. This is another, 3 playoff team division, in my opinion. I think the Cowboys can still get away with, winning 9 football games. That offense is just too dynamic. Dak Prescott, last time he was healthy, was, in my opinion, the MVP. And that might be a little biased, but if you look at the numbers, they back it up. I think when he's under center, this team can go far in the regular season. I think that's where it ends. But this team is going to go as far as he does, and he now has an additional weapon in George Pickens. And this offense is really going to open up in a way it hasn't before, because now it's like, what do you do? Do you cover the middle of the field to stop CeeDee Lamb from running underneath and leave George Pickens one-on-one? I'm going to take that every day if I'm Dak. And on the opposite end, what are you going to do? Double George Pickens and then leave the middle of the field open for CeeDee Lamb running across, getting yards after catch? I think that this passing game is going to be ridiculous. I think Dak Prescott has 4,500 passing yards this year, no doubt. Second place, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Kind of the same reason as Nikki. I do believe in the NFC East curse. I'm a firm believer in it, but I also think that they lost a lot of key pieces defensively. I think Saquon Barkley is going to still put up ridiculous numbers, but I don't think it's going to be close to what it was last year. I think that there's room for a little bit of a fall off in that regard. I think Jalen Hurts, while he's a good quarterback, I think that he also just has a monster team around him. And I think with the loss of some of those big pieces on defense, it's going to be more in his hands to win football games. I don't see them finishing first. I see them going back to the playoffs and making another run. But in first place, I do have the Washington Commanders. I'm not buying into the Jaden Daniels sophomore slump. I think that it's going to be hard to duplicate the success that he had, but there are two ways you can look at this team. There are people that say, oh, but the Commanders, they won so many close games in the last second. Are they going to be able, what if it doesn't work out in their favor like it did last year? My belief is that it's not even going to come down to that. They're going to be finishing games this year. I think that offensively, they just have really great and reliable weapons. I'm not saying that they're flashy or that they're stars, because a lot of them are further along in their career, like Zach Ertz, like I mentioned before, Deebo Samuel. These guys are further along in their career, but they're still going to be productive. I have some questions about the backfield. I think that they're going to be able to do enough, and Jaden Daniels is just going to lead this offense to be very successful. And then defensively, it's the same thing. You just got guys across the board. I think that Dan Quinn is a phenomenal coach. I miss him every single day. I wish we kept him around for longer. And I could very possibly see the Commanders being right back in the same spot they were in last year, possibly even making a Super Bowl. I know that sounds blasphemous as a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, this
but
is music to my ears.
I know.
So NFC West. I'm not too fond of this division, honestly, this year. Fourth place, I have the Cardinals. I'm very low on the Cardinals this year. I think they're another team I've seen them way higher in power ranking. We're going to do power rankings in another episode, but I've seen them high up on power, not high up, but higher than I think they should be. I'm not high on the Cardinals. I think that they're going to get last in this division. Third, I have Seattle. I think they took a step back. I think they downgraded at quarterback, downgraded at receiver. As much as I like JSN, I think JSN and DK is much better than JSN and Cooper Kupp. I do love Kenneth Walker, big on Kenneth Walker, but I just don't see this team making too much noise. Second place, somehow these are the favorites to win the division. Don't understand. 49ers. I honestly if their schedule wasn't so easy, I could see the Seahawks beating them. They have the easiest schedule in football, so they're going to win games, and they're going to get the job done, I think, but I just don't see enough of them. I think they lost a lot of key pieces. I know, obviously McCaffrey's McCaffrey, but I'm not the biggest on Brock Purdy. I think he's a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback, but I don't think he's a high caliber quarterback that's going to take this team far enough to beat the team that is somehow not the favorites to win the division, in the Rams. Huge on the Rams. I think the Rams are going to be phenomenal, assuming Stafford's healthy. I think Devontae Adams and Puka is a sick receiving core. Kyron Williams is a touchdown monster.
I agree.
Defensively, they're good. Just overall, there's nothing not to like about this team. So I have the Rams winning the division.
I agree. Coming at number 4 for me, I have the Cardinals. Just a bad roster. Don't have much going for them, and I'm not a fan of Kyler. I think he needs to be gone.
Yeah, I agree.
Coming at number 3, this is surprising, but I have the 49ers. I didn't really look much into schedules. Before before we set all this up. They have good options on offense. CMC's back. Ricky Pearsall is going to take a step up, I believe, and Kittle's going to play a good role. They just don't have a true wide receiver 1. They got rid of Deebo. Brandon Ayuk is average at best, and Ricky Pearsall is going to have to step up. So coming in at number 2, I have the Seahawks. Sam Darnold might surprise people. JSN, I think he's going to be one of the best receivers in the league. He's going to open eyes this year, and he finally gets that wide receiver 1 role that I think he deserves with DK gone. And I actually disagree with you, Nick. I rather JSN and Cooper Kupp over DK Metcalf. And then number first, I got the Rams. Just competitive offense. Matt Stafford, he's just a guy. And they added Devontae Adams and Puka. Great, crazy duo, like you said. And I think Jared Verse is going to be a top defensive player in the league on that defense. He showed a lot of signs last year.
I like that take.
In fourth place, I have the Cardinals. I think they're going to be pretty competent offensively this year. But I do think this is going to be another really competitive division. I just don't see them eking out many wins in the division. I think that the rest of the teams are going to be a lot better on both sides of the ball. In third place, I have the Seahawks. this again could potentially be a 3 wild card or a 2 wild card team division. Because I do think that the Seahawks are going to do a lot of good things offensively. And I think they do have a very underrated defense. In second place, I have the 49ers. I think we're going to finally start to see, that all those talks about the fall off of San Francisco. I think this is finally the year that we start to see it. I know there were glimpses of it last year. They didn't have a great finish, but I think offensively, CMC coming back healthy, I think that they're going to be able to do some good things. Defensively, they still have a great unit, but overall, I think that the intimidation factor and like the aura, if you will, of this team is not going to be what it once was. They're still going to finish better than the Seahawks and the Cardinals, though. And then in first place, I have the Rams, who I think are honestly going to have a monster record. I predict them finishing really well in the NFC. I have them making a deep playoff run. I think they were very close to beating the Super Bowl champ last year in the playoffs. Matt Stafford is a great quarterback year in, year out. He's one of the most consistent guys in football. You have great offensive weapons like Kyron Williams, and then they have a really gritty defense, and it's all coached by Sean McVay, who I think is one of the best coaches in football right now.
Quickly, you guys have seen now, obviously, where we have the division winners, but we're just going to kind of put them into slots and tell you who our wild card picks are. So this is just our predictions for the playoffs. So for me, this one I teetered with a lot. I thought about the Raiders. I thought about the Patriots. I thought about there was a lot of teams that I thought about the Jaguars. There was a lot of teams that I thought could go here. I settled with the Chargers. My reason for this, I said it earlier, is out of every team that I just named, what am I the most confident in out of all those teams? And it's Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. So for me, that's enough for them to sneak into the 7th seed.
So my 7th seed, I put the Bengals here. Like I said, although I don't trust the defense, I really think that offense is just way too electric. And they made that playoff push towards the end of the year last year, and I think they're ready this year.
At the 7th seed, I have the Bengals as well. I think that, again, like we said when we were doing the division rankings, they have enough star power on the offense that they're going to be able to win football games. Do I see them winning the division? Absolutely not. That's why I have them in the wild card spot, but I do think that they eke into a wild card spot.
Same thing. I'll touch on them. For me, I have the Bengals coming in at 6. I like them over the Chargers. I also think that the Bengals will be able to get more division wins than the Chargers will, because that division always splits. The North always splits. I could see the Chiefs sweeping the Chargers. I could see them splitting with the Raiders, and I could see the Broncos honestly sweeping them. So for that reason, that kind of leads me to put the Bengals ahead of them. I could see that going either way, but I have Bengals at 6.
For my 6, you guys might call it bias, but I have my Miami Dolphins. They, like I said, they could either be a huge surprise or they could be really bad. It really depends on how healthy they stay. It also depends on how that defense, the secondary plays. Other than that, the weapons are there. We've seen them succeed previously when Tua stays healthy for a whole year. I think they're ready to take that step forward.
With the 6th seed in the AFC playoffs, I have the Chargers. Again, I think that Justin Herbert's going to be able to do enough in the regular season that they're going to have a solid record. I think that the AFC West is going to be a 3 playoff team division. I think that's where it ends for them, though. Let it be known. I think that this wild card spot, super wild card weekend, that's where it ends for Justin Herbert and the Chargers this year. They are going to be a team to look out for in years to come, though.
For me, for my last wild card team, I agree with Sam. It's a 3 playoff team division. I have the Broncos. I said it earlier. I could see them winning the division. I think that they are the most dominant wild card team, and I think that they are going to finish with a better record than the 4th place team. But because of the way the NFL playoff works, they're going to fall into a wild card. But I think they're far and away that 5 seed, that it's not even close. The 6, 7, I could see teams fighting at the end, some in the hunt, but I think the Broncos kind of clear this one.
I agree. I have the same pick. I think Denver Broncos are coming 5th. I think, like you said, they're going to be better than some of the division winners. It's just unfortunate that the Chiefs are in their division.
Yeah.
In 5th place, I also have the Broncos. Again,
good picking, boys.
Solid across the board. I think Bo Nix is going to finish what he started towards the end of the year last year, where they're really just competing against anybody. And I think that defense can take them even further than the wild card round. I think that this is a team that can honestly make a surprising playoff run.
Yeah. All right, so you know our division winners, so this one's pretty simple. We just got to rank them in order. For me, I think the Texans are the weakest of the division winners, although I don't agree with all the Texans hate that they have been getting. I think out of the AFC's weak overall, but the top three teams are phenomenal. So for me, it's Texans at 4.
I agree. I have the same thing. Texans at 4. Weak division. I just think they're fortunate enough that they're in that division. So I have them at 4.
Texans at 4.
There we go. This is
Hmm.
where we're going to have some differences. So for me at 3, again, this is because of their division. I have the Ravens. I think they always split. Everybody splits in this division. I see it every year. The Browns somehow beat everybody once. Everybody splits. The only reason why the Bengals and Ravens didn't split last year were 2 crazy games that could have easily went the opposite way. So as good as I think the Ravens are with that division split, I have them at 3.
At 3, I have the Chiefs. I just simply like the other two teams better.
Fair enough.
At 3, I also have the Chiefs. I think that my 2-1 spots are just going to be able to win more games in the regular season. That doesn't say anything about where the Chiefs are going to finish in the playoff run. I think that honestly, they're going to be vying for another Super Bowl appearance. I think we're watching the middle of, or I don't think it's obvious. We're watching a dynasty happen right in front of us.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to be just as competitive as they were last year, just not with a better record as 2-1.
For me at 2, I have the Chiefs. Literally, like Dom said, nothing to complain about. I just like my number 1 team better, so that's all I got for them.
My number 2, I have Bills. Hate them, but gotta admit, they're just such a great team. Josh Allen is just one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they always make a lot of noise. It's unfortunate that they just can't take that step forward in the playoffs, but I think they'll be the second best team in the AFC.
And at 2, I have the Ravens. Similar things as Dom said about the Bills. It's how I feel about the Ravens. You know, they're going to be phenomenal in the regular season. They're going to win a crap ton of games. Will we see Lamar and the offense finally play like in their regular season form in the playoffs? Who knows? I hope so because I think that this team can honestly make a Super Bowl run.
So that leaves me with the Bills at my number 1. I just love the Bills. I think they're phenomenal, and I love Josh Allen, and I think he just wins a lot of games. And I think they probably are the number 1 seed in the AFC, and probably the best record in football this year.
My number 1, I got the Ravens. I'm so bought on the Ravens this year. I think it's a year that they finally take that extra step that they've been waiting for. Um, I think Baltimore's going to be happy this year because I think the Ravens are going to take a trip to the Super Bowl.
At the 1 spot, it's the Bills Mafia, man. They're too good, offensively, defensively, coached well. It's just, what can you say about them? Dominant.
All right, so that's what we got for our AFC playoff predictions, and then we're just going to finish off, wrap it up with the NFC. So for me, in my 7 seed, I have the 49ers. I am not a believer in the 49ers. Everybody's talking about, oh, the 49ers are going to do this, they're going to do this. I'm not a believer in it at all. There's one reason why they get the 7 seed, and it is because their schedule is ridiculously easy. Easiest schedule in football by far. So they'll win enough games to get there, but I see it ending there. And I think that there's teams below them that are better than them, but they just weren't blessed with the schedule that the 49ers were blessed with. So for that reason, I have them at 7.
My 7 team, I have the Falcons. Like I said, they got a lot of weapons, and I think they're going to be one of those teams that surprise people this year.
My 7th seed, I have the Green Bay Packers. Uh, gonna be again a tough division. I could honestly see, my third place team in this division, the Vikings, being in that wild card spot. But I think that the Packers are going to be able to sneak in, be that wild card team coming out of the NFC North.
For me at 6, I have the Lions. I still think they're going to be very good. Me not picking them to win the division is no disrespect to them. I think that they're going to be very good. I don't think they're going to be as good as the fifth wild card spot, but I could still see them winning a lot of games. So for me, I got the Lions at 6.
My number 6 is the Packers. Similar reasons that Sam said, but also I just think the NFC is actually going to be a little bit more competitive than it was last year. And no disrespect to the Packers, I think they're a great team.
With the 6th seed, I have my Dallas Cowboys, still finding a way to just fight into the playoffs. Uh, I think when it comes to those in division games, Dak is just dominant against the rest of the NFC East. I think they're going to be able to do enough in the division to be able to sneak into a wild card spot. While they do have a rough schedule, especially towards the end of the season, I think that they're going to start off rolling to that tough stretch with a lot of momentum and a good record, and I think they're going to be able to just hold on long enough to be able to get that super wild card weekend ass whooping that everyone's looking and hoping for. I'm realistic. I'm realistic about my boys. I mean, it's not our year. It's not our year. Let it be known. It's not our year. I'm not one of those.
That leaves me with the Eagles at 5. I still think, like I said, it's going to come down to week 18 for us. I think one of us goes 12-5, the other one goes 11-6. So putting the Eagles at the 5 spot is not any disrespect to the reigning Super Bowl champs. I just think it's going to come down to that.
I got the Commanders. They're a great team. I think they're going to make some noise in the playoffs again. It's just I'm so high on the Eagles that they have to be where they are.
And then in 5th place, I also have the Eagles. NFC East, 3 playoff team division. Once again, they're going to be very competitive in this division. And I think that they're going to do some pretty good things. They're the reigning Super Bowl champs. And I think that they're going to find their way back into the playoffs. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, they've got what it takes to be dominant enough in the regular season. Do I see them going back to the Super Bowl? No, I do not. But I think that they're going to be able to get that wild card spot and lock up another playoff appearance.
Or I got Tampa. Now, I think Philly, similar to the AFC, I think Philly and Detroit are both better than Tampa, but because of the playoff system, Tampa wins that division, so they get 4. I don't see them making noise in the playoffs. I see them getting bumped in the first round, but enough to get 4.
4, I got the Rams. I just think the Rams are a team that they lose important games sometimes, and I just think that that's gonna bump them down in the rankings. Although they do have a stacked roster.
And then the 4th, I also have the Buccaneers. Similar reasons. I think that the Eagles are a better team. I think that they might even finish with a better record. But just because of the way the playoff seeding works, the Buccaneers are going to be 1 seed higher than them. I think that Baker Mayfield can make some things shake in the playoffs, though. Let it be known.
At number 3, I have the Rams. Very high on the Rams. I just like my 2 teams above them better, but I am very high on the Rams. I could see them finishing at 2, finishing at 1. I could definitely see it happening. I love everything about that team, but I just think that they're going to get 3.
My 3, I have the Bucks. Baker Mayfield just such a competitor, like I said. Took a step forward last year, and I'm excited to see what he has to get done, and I'm high on him.
In 3rd place, I have the Lions. Again, new look, new scheme, but there's still just so many ball players on this team that they're going to win the NFC North, be in the playoffs, and I think we're looking at, another deep playoff run from Detroit.
For me at number 2, I wanted to do it, bro. I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it so bad, but I had to contain myself here. I have us finishing at 2. I do think us and the Eagles are the top 2 teams in the NFC, and I think that the winner of our division deserves to be the number 1 seed. I moved us to 2 because the NFC East as a whole has a very hard schedule this year. So I think that there's some games that are going to end up being lost between us and the Eagles. Like I said, my prediction is 12-5 for us and 11-6 for them. Or the reverse if they end up beating us week 18. So regardless, I think if it's us or the Eagles, it's 2nd. But because I have us beating the Eagles, I think we're going to have the 2 seed.
My 2, I have the Lions, and it was hard for me to put them at 2. They're stacked, but had to do it.
In second place, I have the Commanders. Another team that's just going to perform really well in the regular season, but also in a competitive division. That's why they're not in that one spot. I think that they're going to have some games within the division where they play down to their opponent. I think there's opportunity for a loss to the Cowboys, a loss to the Giants. I see it year in and year out. I think that it splits all the way down the entire NFC East. I think each team is going to split with one another. That's why I have the Commanders finishing second.
So that leaves me for at my 1 seed. I have the Packers. I love everything that's going on with this
Wow.
team right now. I love Jordan Love.
Wow.
My faith, like
That's
I said,
big.
it's a similar situation to the NFC East where if the Lions win the division, they're gonna have the 1 seed. I could see it going both ways. I saw some negative stuff from Jared Goff against us in the divisional round. My faith, I see more and more potential from Jordan Love than I see for the Lions. I think Micah Parsons elevates his already good young defense to the next level. And I just think it's enough to get the job done. But like I said, let it be known. I do think us and the Eagles are a better team than both of them because of the schedule situations. I have the Packers ahead of us. But don't be surprised if JD5 gets us the 1 seed, bro. I want to take it, but I know I'll be called biased, but don't be surprised.
Yeah, but they don't have Kenny Clark anymore. How are they going to do it without Kenny Clark?
Damn, rip Kenny Clark.
That's good. That was good.
Sorry, boys. Sorry to break your little 25-year curse, but it's gonna happen. The Eagles are winning the division, and they're going on, and they're going back to back, and they're winning the Super Bowl.
Wow. My one seed, I
Spoiling
have
the
the
next episode. Kidding.
uh,
No matter.
my one seed, I have the Rams. I think that they're going to be able to perform well enough in the division where they're going to be able to possibly sweep the Cardinals. I think that they're going to be able to win most of their regular season games, have a phenomenal record. I think there's just so many good things going for them, and the way they ended the season last year, I think that's really going to stick with them in that locker room. I think they're going to be able to go on and have the best record in the NFC.
Cool. All right. So
Great
yeah,
episode.
that's pretty much
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Obviously that one ran a little bit longer, but it's good stuff. We're gonna try to get one more episode in before the season starts, and then once the season starts, the episodes are gonna look pretty similar. Just like I said, breakdowns of the week. We're gonna do our weekly game picks, so something to look forward to. I'm gonna keep track of everybody's record. We'll have all of our game picks and everything. Next episode, we're gonna talk a little bit more predictions, but that was it for episode 1. So appreciate anybody that tuned in to listen
Sounds
to that,
good.
and it's a lot of fun, boys.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.